Samson and Delilah.
Samson was the strongest man in all the Promised Land, and it was well that he was strong, for in those days wild beasts roamed the country. Lions and bears came down from the mountains into the fields. One day, when Samson was working on his farm, a young lion sprang at him. But Samson was so strong, he tore the lion apart with his hands. But the people of Israel also had men for enemies, the Philistines, a tribe of warriors on the western border of the land. Time and again, the Philistines would make their way into Israelite land and lay waste the towns. But the people of Israel wanted peace. They bound Samson up to offer him to the Philistines and brought him to Lehi. The Philistines were many, and they carried spears. Samson had nothing, but the Spirit of the Lord entered into Samson. His binding fell from his hands, and he picked up the jawbone of an ass and used it like a club against the Philistines and slew many men. And the Philistines swore that someday they would pay Samson back. Now this is how it came about. Samson fell in love with a woman. Delilah was her name. And the Philistines came to her saying,
"We will pay you to help us."
Help you? How?
Find out his secret. He has the strength of 100 men. Why?
I don't know.
Find out. We will pay you very well.
And so one night Delilah asked Samson if he loved her to tell her the secret of his strength. At first he would not, but she asked again and again, and at last Samson said,
"The day I was born, my mother and father gave me to God. They swore, and then I swore, that I would drink no wine and eat no unclean food, and never would I cut my hair. And because I have kept my word, God has given me great strength."
So, if your head were shaved...
I would become as weak as you are.
So Delilah sent for the Philistines, and they paid her money, and she told them. Then the next night, while Samson slept, she sent for a barber, and he shaved off his hair. Then she called out,
Wake up, Samson. The Philistines have come. Strike them down.
But Samson could not, because now he was no stronger than any other man. And the Philistines took him prisoner and carried him to their own city, to Gaza. And there they treated him cruelly. They put out his eyes and bound him with chains and set him to work grinding corn like a slave. Then one day, many weeks later, the Philistines held a great feast in Gaza to mark their victory over Samson and the Israelites. The feast was held in a great hall. Its roof rested on pillars, and thousands of people came and filled the hall and stood on the roof. And the king of the Philistines sent for Samson, and he was brought in. And the people laughed at the blind man as he stood there in his chains between two pillars. No one seemed to notice that Samson's hair had begun to grow back. And as the Philistines laughed, Samson said in his heart,
O Lord God, remember me and strengthen me only this once, O God.
And Samson put his hands against the pillars, his right hand against one, his left hand against the other, and he said,
Let me die with the Philistines.
And he pushed against the pillars, and so great was his strength, they burst apart. And the roof of the hall gave way, and everyone on it and under it, even Samson, was crushed to death. And his brothers came over to Gaza and found Samson's body, and brought him home to lie beside his father in the land of the Israelites.